Have you ever stood beneath a star-filled sky, gazing at the vast expanse above, and wondered what role you play in this infinite universe? It's a question as old as humanity itself. Why are we here? Does my life matter in the grand scheme of things? These thoughts often bring a mixture of awe and existential unease, as we grapple with the apparent insignificance of our lives in the face of the cosmos. In this video, we will explore the profound concept of the infinite cycle of the universe and how it intertwines with the existence of consciousness. From the cosmic rhythms of stars being born and dying, to the cycles of life on Earth, we'll uncover how we are not separate from this process but deeply connected to it. More than just a scientific explanation, this is a philosophical and emotional journey, a chance to rediscover the beauty and purpose of being part of something greater than ourselves. Our exploration will delve into how this understanding can bring clarity and comfort when facing the ultimate realities of life and death. Instead of feeling small, this perspective offers a liberating realization. You are not just in the universe, you are the universe itself, experiencing and evolving. So, whether you felt overwhelmed by the vastness of space or sought to reconcile your existence with the idea of infinity, this journey is for you. By the end, you'll see your life not as a fleeting speck in a vast void, but as a vital part of an eternal cosmic cycle, connected, meaningful, and extraordinary. To understand our place in the universe, we must first explore how the universe itself operates. At its core lies a grand dance of creation, destruction, and rebirth, a cycle that has persisted for billions of years and may continue indefinitely. This cycle isn't just a poetic notion, it's a scientific reality backed by some of the most profound discoveries in cosmology. The story begins with the Big Bang, an event that marked the birth of space, time, and all matter as we know it. From this initial explosion, the universe has expanded outward, forming galaxies, stars, and planets. But this process is not one of endless creation. Stars, for example, are born from immense clouds of gas and dust, live brilliant lives fueled by nuclear fusion, and eventually die in spectacular ways, either as supernovae or by shedding their outer layers. The remnants of these stars then form the building blocks for new stars, planets, and even life itself. This ongoing cycle reveals a profound truth. The elements that make up everything we see, including our own bodies, were forged in the hearts of ancient stars. As Carl Sagan famously said, "We are made of star stuff." This connection to the cosmos is not metaphorical, it's literal. The atoms in your body have existed for billions of years, cycling through countless forms before becoming part of you. But what about the universe itself? Could it be part of an even larger cycle? Some theories in cosmology, such as the Big Crunch or Big Bounce hypotheses, suggest that the universe might one day stop expanding and collapse back into a singularity, only to begin anew. If this is true, then everything, from the smallest particle to the largest galaxy, is part of a never-ending cycle of renewal. This perspective challenges the way we think about beginnings and endings. What if there is no ultimate end to anything? What if every ending is simply the start of something new? By viewing the universe through this lens, we can begin to see how deeply interconnected everything truly is. From the birth of a star to the growth of a tree on Earth, to the spark of life itself, everything participates in this great cosmic rhythm. As we continue this journey, consider how this understanding might shift your perspective. If the universe operates in cycles, then our lives, seemingly brief and insignificant, are part of this eternal dance. Far from being separate from the cosmos, we are intricately woven into its fabric, connected not only to the stars above, but also to the cycles of renewal that define existence itself. Despite being part of the cosmic cycle, humans experience existence through a uniquely limited lens. Our perception of time, life, and mortality is shaped by the boundaries of our consciousness. To truly grasp the universe's infinite nature, we must first understand the way we experience it, and how that perspective often obscures the bigger picture. At the heart of this limitation lies our linear perception of time. For most of us, life unfolds as a straight line: past, present, future. We remember what has happened, exist in the now, and anticipate what's to come. This framework feels natural, but physics suggests it's an illusion. Time, as understood in relativity, is not linear but fluid, dependent on the observer's perspective. Events we perceive as sequential might, from another viewpoint, occur simultaneously or in different orders. Quantum mechanics deepens this mystery. In the quantum world, particles exist in states of superposition, being in multiple places or forms until observed. Could it be that our consciousness, bound by its human limitations, forces us to interpret the universe in a linear way because it's the only way we can make sense of it? If so, this raises a profound question. Is the idea of beginnings and endings just a construct of our minds? This linear framework also deeply influences how we view our lives. Most people measure existence by milestones: birth, growth, achievements, and death. Within this timeline, life often feels fleeting, and the inevitability of mortality looms as an end we cannot escape. For many, this generates anxiety and an existential crisis. What's the point if everything ends? Yet, if we pause to reflect on the cycles we observe in nature, a different picture begins to emerge. Consider the seasons. Spring blooms into summer, which fades into autumn, followed by winter. Each season flows seamlessly into the next, creating a loop rather than a line. Or take the cycles of day and night, tides, and even biological rhythms like the heartbeat or breathing. These natural patterns suggest that cycles, not lines, are the true rhythm of existence. What about human life itself? While an individual's lifespan might appear linear, it's embedded within countless overlapping cycles. Generational lineage, cultural traditions, even the recycling of matter. Our bodies, for instance, are composed of elements that have passed through innumerable forms. Minerals in the soil, water in the oceans, air breathed by countless others. When we die, these elements don't vanish. They return to the earth, continuing the cycle of transformation. This realization can be both humbling and liberating. If life is part of an infinite cycle, then death is not a definitive end but a transition. Just as stars die to give birth to new ones, we too contribute to the ongoing process of renewal. From this perspective, our individual stories, while unique, are threads in a much larger tapestry, one that stretches beyond time and space as we understand it. Recognizing this interconnectedness helps to alleviate the fear of insignificance. Instead of viewing ourselves as isolated beings with a fixed timeline, we can see ourselves as participants in the universe's ongoing dance. Our role, no matter how small it may seem, contributes to the greater whole. As we move forward, let's consider the implications of this cyclical worldview. How does it change the way we approach our lives, our choices, and even our mortality? And what does it reveal about the nature of consciousness itself? When we confront the sheer scale of the universe, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by our apparent insignificance. The Earth, a tiny speck in a galaxy of billions of stars, itself part of a universe containing trillions of galaxies. What can one human life possibly mean in this vast expanse? This sense of smallness has haunted humanity for centuries, but it also holds the key to a profound liberation. The paradox of insignificance is this: while we may be infinitesimally small in the cosmic scale, our very existence is a testament to our connection to the infinite. The atoms that form our bodies were created in the hearts of ancient stars. The light we see from distant galaxies has traveled billions of years, connecting us to moments far beyond our lifespan. This means we are not separate from the universe. We are the universe, experiencing itself in a fleeting but meaningful way. Philosophers have long grappled with this idea. The Stoics, for example, emphasized the importance of recognizing our place in the natural order. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and philosopher, wrote, "You have existed as a part of the whole. You will vanish into what produced you, or rather, you will be changed and remade into the world." This view invites us to see ourselves not as isolated entities but as integral parts of a greater system. Eastern philosophies, such as Buddhism, take this a step further by dissolving the ego, the sense of a separate self. In Buddhist thought, clinging to the idea of an independent I is a source of suffering. By letting go of this illusion, one can experience unity with the greater whole. This is not a loss of identity but an expansion of it. When we see ourselves as part of the infinite, the fear of insignificance fades, replaced by a deep sense of belonging. Even modern thinkers like Alan Watts embraced this idea, framing it in a way accessible to contemporary audiences. Watts famously said, "You are not a stranger here. You are the universe experiencing itself." This perspective flips the narrative of insignificance on its head. Instead of feeling small and separate, we recognize that the vastness of the universe is also within us. But how can this philosophy help us in daily life? One way is to embrace what the Japanese call mono no aware, or the pathos of things. This concept acknowledges the beauty in transience, the fleeting nature of moments, objects, and even life itself. By appreciating the impermanence of everything, We can find value in the present moment and take comfort in knowing that nothing truly ends. It simply changes form. Consider, for example, a leaf falling from a tree. On the surface, it might seem like the end of its purpose. But that same leaf decomposes into the soil, nourishing the tree it fell from, perpetuating the cycle of life. In the same way, our actions, words, and even our thoughts ripple out, influencing the world in ways we may never fully understand. This interconnectedness reveals a comforting truth. Our lives matter not because they are eternal or grand, but because they are part of a process much larger than ourselves. The universe doesn't demand that we be significant in the traditional sense. It only asks that we participate, that we live, create, and share our brief moment of existence. As we move into the next chapter, we'll explore how consciousness itself fits into this infinite cycle. If we are part of the universe's grand rhythm, what role does our awareness play in this eternal dance? If the universe operates in cycles, and we are an inseparable part of it, then what is the role of consciousness in this grand system? To explore this, we can imagine consciousness as a wave, a transient but inseparable feature of the ocean that is the universe. Think about waves in the sea. Each wave has a beginning and an end, rising and falling in a rhythm dictated by forces beyond itself. Yet, the wave is never truly separate from the ocean. It's simply a manifestation of the larger body, expressing its energy in a temporary and unique way. Similarly, consciousness can be seen as a wave that arises from the ocean of existence. It feels individual, yet it is part of something far greater. This analogy aligns with philosophical and scientific ideas about the nature of consciousness. Modern neuroscience suggests that consciousness arises from the complex interactions of neurons in the brain. However, this perspective doesn't negate the possibility that our individual awareness is connected to a broader, universal consciousness. Some thinkers argue that just as waves are expressions of the ocean, our awareness might be a localized expression of a much larger, interconnected field. Alan Watts, a philosopher who bridged Eastern and Western thought, described this beautifully. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. This perspective shifts our understanding of the self. Instead of seeing ourselves as isolated beings, we can view our consciousness as a temporary manifestation of the infinite. This idea resonates with ancient philosophies like Advaita Vedanta, which posits that individual souls, Atman, are not separate from the ultimate reality, Brahman. According to this view, realizing this unity is the key to liberation. Similarly, in Buddhist thought, the dissolution of the ego allows one to experience the oneness of existence. But what does this mean for how we live our lives? If consciousness is a wave, then its impermanence is not something to fear. Instead, it's an invitation to fully embrace the present moment. Just as no two waves are exactly alike, no two moments of awareness are the same. The fleeting nature of consciousness makes it precious. Each wave is a unique expression of the ocean's infinite potential. From this perspective, death is not the end of consciousness but its return to the greater whole. Just as a wave crashes back into the sea, losing its individual form but not its essence, so too might consciousness dissolve and rejoin the vast ocean of existence. This understanding can transform the way we approach life. If we see ourselves as part of an infinite process, our fears of mortality and insignificance begin to fade. Instead, we can focus on living authentically, experiencing the richness of each moment, and recognizing our connection to the greater whole. In the next chapter, we'll delve into how embracing this cyclical view of life and consciousness can help us find beauty and purpose in an ever-changing universe. As we've explored, existence is not a straight line but a continuous cycle of beginnings and transformations. This realization can feel overwhelming at first, but it also holds a profound truth. Within this eternal cycle lies an immense beauty, a perspective that can reshape how we live and view our place in the universe. Consider the transient nature of all things. A flower blooms for a short time before wilting, but in its brief existence, it brings beauty to the world. When it fades, it doesn't disappear but transforms, nourishing the soil for future growth. This process is mirrored in everything around us, from the turning of seasons to the rise and fall of civilizations. Even the stars we gaze upon in the night sky are part of this ongoing cycle of creation and destruction. This transience is what gives life its value. Without endings, beginnings would hold little meaning. The fleeting moments we cherish, a sunset, a shared laugh, or the touch of a loved one, are precious precisely because they don't last forever. Recognizing this impermanence allows us to savor each experience fully, understanding that it's part of a larger, infinite flow. In embracing this perspective, we find not only beauty but also purpose. If every ending is a transformation, then our actions, no matter how small, contribute to the larger whole. A kind word, a creative act, or a moment of connection ripples outward, influencing the cycles of life in ways we may never see. Like the leaf that falls to enrich the soil, our presence leaves an imprint that continues beyond our individual existence. Finding beauty in the cycle also helps us reconcile with mortality. Death is not an end but a transition, a return to the greater fabric of the universe. Knowing this can inspire us to live more authentically, to focus on the present moment, and to appreciate the interconnectedness of all things. As you reflect on this, imagine the universe as a symphony, with each life, star, and moment contributing to an eternal melody. By understanding and embracing our role in this infinite cycle, we not only find peace but also a sense of profound belonging. In the final chapter, we'll tie everything together, exploring how to carry this understanding into daily life and find harmony within the infinite dance of existence. How do we take this understanding of the infinite cycle and apply it to our lives? The beauty of this realization lies in its simplicity. To live in harmony with the universe's rhythms, we must embrace three key principles: presence, connection, and contribution. First, presence. When we recognize that each moment is fleeting, we can approach life with mindfulness. Instead of rushing through experiences or clinging to the past, we can savor the here and now. This doesn't mean ignoring life's challenges, but rather finding grace within them. Every moment, no matter how mundane, is an expression of the universe's endless creativity, a unique wave in the cosmic ocean. Next, connection. Understanding our place within the infinite cycle reminds us that we are not isolated. From the air we breathe to the people we meet, everything is interconnected. This awareness can inspire compassion and humility. When we see ourselves as part of the whole, our relationships deepen, and our actions become more intentional. Whether it's caring for a loved one, nurturing the environment, or simply being kind, connection is the thread that binds us to the greater tapestry of existence. Finally, contribution. Just as every wave influences the ocean, our actions shape the cycles we are part of. Contribution doesn't have to be grand. Even small acts can create ripples that extend far beyond what we can see. By aligning our efforts with the rhythms of life, whether through creativity, service, or personal growth, we honor our role in the cosmic dance. This perspective also offers freedom. When we stop clinging to permanence or fearing endings, we can approach life with an open heart. Our purpose is not to control the cycle but to flow with it, finding meaning in the act of being. As Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final." By living with presence, connection, and contribution, we align ourselves with the rhythm of the universe. We begin to see life not as a struggle against time, but as an opportunity to participate in something timeless and beautiful. The universe is infinite, but so is the potential within each of us. As we close this exploration, may you carry this understanding forward, finding clarity, comfort, and wonder in the infinite cycle of existence.